Hello everyone and welcome to our latest Whirlwind Heights Forecast Center update. And in this forecast, we're going to discuss the significant severe weather that is coming to the country over the next few days. And it can be relatively significant where we can continue to see some damaging winds, some large hail, and isolated tornadoes. Also, we are anticipating a tropical storm or some kind of tropical disturbance to form in the Atlantic Ocean over the next few days that can really pose a risk to the Western Antilles. It has a risk of being pretty significant. We also have tropical activity heating up in the Pacific Ocean, where we have a tropical disturbance that's potentially directed straight for Hawaii. And we also have a tropical disturbance literally just a few hundred miles to the east of it, which could easily also become a significant tropical disturbance. So it's going to be a wild next week. So with that much more to talk about in this intro, let's roll the forecast. Alright guys, and I'm going to begin with our significant severe weather over the next few days. Starting off with today, Cyrus used to be a double layer Cyrus and disconnected. Now they are connected, stretching from Nebraska all the way down into the Ohio Valley. 2% tornado risk here in Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. And Illinois, by the way, is on the track of having the most tornadoes out of any state within a year, which is absolutely insane. And then we have a 15% damaging wind risk stretching from Nebraska down into Kentucky, which is what's driving the slight risk. And we can see some damaging wind scattered, and then a 15% hail risk also exists here in northeastern Colorado, western Nebraska, and southwestern South Dakota. And then tomorrow is just a marginal threat. Our tornado risk doesn't exist. Wind threat 5% for stretching from the Great Plains to the Ohio Valley. Our hail risk basically the same. So tomorrow is not too concerning. And then Friday is literally the same areas. So overall, I'm not looking at too much. Let's check the other outlooks. As you can see, it doesn't look too concerning. So let's just go ahead and look at our wind and relative humidity, which again is not too concerning. But we do have isolated fires that could happen today, and a couple here on the West Coast, one here in central Idaho, one in northeastern California, northwestern Nevada, and a bit of southern Oregon. Another one here for the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. Tomorrow, our fire risk only exists for northern Texas and western Oklahoma. So generally, our fire risk is very low. Yesterday we had a full-blown moderate risk of excessive rainfall in Ohio, and we've had plenty of rainfall across Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. Well, that continues today, where we could easily see we have another slight risk of excessive rainfall today for the Ohio Valley stretching into the Midwest. Tomorrow it goes up north, but some of the same areas are under the gun again. Now Friday, that goes up north into Wisconsin, Iowa. And the Saturday, again going up into Wisconsin, and the Ohio Valley can finally recover from this. But we could easily see some significant flooding today as well. So flash flooding is a major concern today too. Don't forget, we gotta stay tuned into the weather. We're going to go over our temperature anomalies. which is already super hot out here up in the Great Plains here in Kansas. We're up to 22 degrees Fahrenheit above average. But when this will load here in a second, it's going to be much more significant than this. As you can see here in a few weeks, it could easily get up to 30 degrees above average. Like this is really bad. This could easily be a significant heat wave, and when I say significant, I mean it. And man, we've already had temperatures like this just a little bit ago in the Great Plains, just a few weeks ago. There was a heat wave here, and that looks like it's going to happen again. Like, this is really bad. And that's going to continue to shift south here. But there's obviously been some relief to the Ohio Valley, and it looks like that's going to continue. And eventually, it looks like cold air is going to break in finally, with like 35 degrees possibly below average, which is absolutely insanity. But overall, again, just a major. It looks like there is a big heat wave on the way. And real quick, we'll look at our apparent temperatures. And right now, it's a widespread at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, but that's like going to break quick. Where we could easily see widespread temperatures up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit and isolated spots up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also going to be pretty hot down here in the south. Oh yeah, this is just a significant, as you can see here. It is just going to get really hot here in Missouri. We're talking isolated temperatures up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And I wouldn't rule things even higher than that. But yeah, overall, it's a big concern. Alright, now we got a tropical storm threat to talk about. Right here in the Atlantic Ocean is tropical disturbance AL92, which is in the next 48 hours has a 70% chance of developing. So it literally looks like this has a good chance of developing in the next 48 hours and an 80% chance of developing in the next 7 days. So it's likely that this will develop. And right now the National Hurricane Center is keeping this toward the east. So unfortunately, it looks like this could definitely make an impact on the Western Antilles. Literally right on top of this is another tropical disturbance, which has a 10% risk of developing in the next 48 hours, and in the next week, a 20% chance. So it's generally low, but the only reason why I'm talking about it is because it's right next to this concerning one. And then here in the central Atlantic Ocean, we got another risk of tropical development, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because, well, it's a medium risk of development. The next 48 hours, it has a 50% chance of development. In the next 7 days, yet again, a 50% chance of development. So it has a good chance of developing into a tropical system. Alright, and so we're going to look at this on the GFS. And we're going to look at composite reflectivity. And we're also going to look at the wind. So we're going to, because the GFS for the longest time hasn't been showing anything major forming here. Just really disorganized storm. And it remains that way. We have a tropical disturbance out here in the Pacific Ocean, CP3 on 9-3, which has a 90% chance of development in the next 48 hours. So it's pretty much going to develop in the next 48 hours. But in the next week, it also has a 90% chance of development. As you can see here, it looks like its path is trajected, straight for Hawaii. So it's a big threat here in the Pacific Ocean, where we could very easily see something significant. But look, just a few hundred miles east of this is EP99, which has a 70% chance of development in the next 48 hours and a 70% chance of development in the next week. So it's also highly likely that this will develop. Let's see what the GFS is showing for this. And okay, guys, I was just cut off. Alright, but as you can see here, the GFS shows a straight up tropical storm, maybe even hurricane, making direct landfall on top of Hawaii. And if this were to be the case, it could be a catastrophe. But I'm not saying it's going to be a catastrophe, but it could be. It is something that I'm concerned about. So we need to keep close tabs on this. Because again, it can very easily be something significant. But it also shows a few tropical systems developing out here, which we don't know about these. I mean, I guess it's a risk. And then let's look at the United States over the next few days. We're going to continue to see isolated severe weather over the next few days. But I mean, it's not going to be like major widespread events. And then this is where it gets far out, so we don't know. But we don't know if this is true, but the GFS is showing a revamp in severe weather. So for this, we're going to look at our 300 millibar winds. And as you can see, we have this ridge that's set up in the Midwest, which is what's bringing on this significant heat wave. And then, as you can see here, that ridge is holding on for dear life. So the weather in the United States could die down because of this ridge, but at the end of the model run, the GFS shows this ridge being pushed off by a very powerful jet. And so, very powerful, drop there. So that could be the case, and we're gonna see how that evolves over the next few days. And that'll be it for today's forecast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's forecast. If so, be sure to spread the word. So be sure to share this video so we can spread the word. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one.